So let's get started with a look at what happened last night. Tottenham striker Harry Kane within 2 of Jimmy Greaves' club record of 266 goals after a quick-fire double helped Spurs on their way to a 4-0 win over Crystal Palace last night. 300th Premier League game for Kane. He also moved 2 goals ahead of where Alan Shearer was after 300 games, with Shearer holding the Premier League all-time record, of course, that now in Harry Kane's sights. He's got Wayne Rooney still ahead of him as well, but he's not so far away now. Let's hear about Harry Kane last night.
Brian Hill is trying to tee this up for Perisic. The Croatian chips it across the goal. Keeper's nowhere and headed in by Harry Kane at the back post.
It was nice. The first one, Evans put a great ball there in the back post, and I was there to put it away. And the second one is just something I practice a lot. The quick touch and finish, and before the keeper can get set. So it was nice to score 2 quick ones and then finish the game off as we did.
And it's back into the penalty area. Kane! Oh, that is absolutely superb. Drilled that shot into the bottom corner, flew past Guaita, and it's Tottenham 2-0 up here.
They're always nice to, when you're getting spoke about in the names like Alan and whoever else is up there. It's always good. So I'll just have to keep it going, see what happens, and I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling fit. So hopefully I can finish the season strong.
We're talking about a world-class striker. He's a special player, and in every circumstances, you know that you can count about him. He's a point of reference.
Superb stuff from Kane. Turned what looked like a difficult evening for Tottenham into a stroll, really, with those 2 goals. Let's speak to Chris Cowlin, Spurs fan, who was at Selhurst Park last night. Good evening, Chris.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. I mean, I just wanted to ask you, first of all, obviously the 4-0 win was hugely important. We'll come to that. But in terms of Harry Kane, I mean, it's incredible what he's doing, because the team at the moment, just from my view, doesn't seem to be functioning at its best necessarily, but he's still getting the job done. It's a great goal tally, and obviously he's tracking down all these records.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with everything Antonio Conte said. Of course, he's equal with Wayne Rooney at the moment with the England record. We all know he's going to go on to be the all-time goal scorer for England. 2 now behind Jimmy Greaves, 72 behind Alan Shearer for the all-time Premier League record. We all know that Harry Kane is going to break all of these records, and he's been absolutely brilliant for Spurs. And when you think back, only a few years ago, all the opposition fans were singing he's only a one-season wonder. He just produces the goods all the time for Spurs, and as you said at the front of the show there, it is now about putting trophies in the cabinet for Spurs and for England.
He strikes me as well as just the ultimate professional. I know that he loves the NFL. He watches someone like Tom Brady, and I guess that gives him the appetite to, be there every game. He doesn't ever seem to want to miss a game. He's always seemingly, training as hard as he can to be at his peak fitness. He looked supremely fit last night, even though he played, I think he played maybe the most minutes of an outfield player before the World Cup. He plays in the World Cup, then he comes back and he produces, performances like that. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? His appetite to be the best he can be.
Absolutely. And when you think, missing that penalty, which was a real low point in his career, he's come back, he's played 3 games for Spurs. Although we haven't been in great form, he's scored 3 goals. He was very, very clinical last night at Selhurst Park. 4 shots, 2 on target, 2 goals, 2 great finishes last night. And I just run out of things to say about Harry Kane, because he is that good. Whenever you've got a player like him on the pitch, you've always got a chance. And he always seems to deliver for Spurs, and he will go down as the greatest goal scorer at Tottenham Hotspur. And it's so weird, because at the start of his career at Spurs, he very nearly left because a lot of people thought that he wasn't good enough, and he's just worked so hard to be where he is now. Of course, captain of England, and just about to break another record for Tottenham.
It's a great point. I was fortunate enough to have watched most of his career, most of the games while I've been down here in London. And I remember Tim Sherwood was quite important in terms of getting Kane into the team during his period in charge. And I guess, his knowledge of the youth system and having watched Kane come through, he gave him a chance where some managers that Tottenham have had since, and some managers at other clubs might not have given him that opportunity.
Absolutely, and he grabbed the opportunity with two hands. I remember, I think the kickstart of his Spurs career really was that deflected free kick against Aston Villa under Pochettino, and ever since then he's been scoring goals for fun. Of course, he's got this great partnership with Heung-min Son. They play extremely well together, but he certainly grabbed his opportunity, and it's so nice to see him win so many individual awards. But as a Spurs fan, of course, we are frustrated that we haven't won any team awards. And, the amount of time he's been at Spurs, we would all love to see him win a trophy at Tottenham Hotspur.
Would you expect him to play against Portsmouth in the FA Cup? Because I can't remember any of the FA Cup games down the years that, I've expected him to be rested, and there he is playing at Colchester away or wherever it might be in the third round. It's just, I speculated today, jokingly, whether it was written into his contract that he had to play in every game he was fit for, because it's incredible the amount he's utilised, even though he's so important.
Well, I think we've got two huge, very, very important games coming up in the Premier League, Arsenal at home, Manchester City away. So I would think that Antonio Conte would probably rest him against Portsmouth this weekend. And wouldn't it be nice at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against our North London rivals to, one, get a result, and two, Harry Kane, go beyond Jimmy Greaves' record. It would be incredible against our North London rivals.
So Jimmy Greaves, of course, played for a few other clubs. I mean, how do Tottenham fans, especially the older generation that look at the breaking of that record? Because obviously Greaves was playing, at Chelsea and other clubs, but at West Ham and abroad. But he was, in many people's eyes, the best Tottenham player ever, along with a couple of other players that would possibly be put into that bracket. But how does that sit with people that Kane's going to break that record, given that he's a one-club man, Harry? Pretty much.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I've spoken to a number of older fans that remember watching Jimmy Greaves week in, week out for Tottenham, and a few of them do seem disappointed because they want Jimmy Greaves to hold that record. But Harry Kane is relentless. He scores for fun. We saw last night at Selhurst Park him score another couple. I just think Harry Kane is going to break every single record, as I said earlier. He's 72 behind Alan Shearer, which I've absolutely no doubt that he is going to break that record, and every single record. He chases the records, and he seems to be breaking them. But I know a lot of opposition fans, I know I keep saying this about trophies. I went to an exhibition in London a couple of months ago, and Harry Kane had all of these personal awards. And the non-Spurs fans walking around the exhibition that I kept hearing saying, well, where is his club trophies? What has he won? I think at the end of his career, he will probably look back and say, what has he won at Tottenham? And that's why I think that it would be a big, big shame, a real big shame, if he finished his career at Spurs having not won a club trophy.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Just finally, they've had a number of players out or in and out, like Kulusevski, Richarlison, Lucas Moura, Bentancur was out last night, Bissouma. Do you feel that the position that Tottenham are in, 2 points outside the top four in the knockout rounds of the Champions League, do you feel that actually there could be an argument to say Tottenham are only going to get better from here and it's not a bad position to be in? Or do you look at the performances and the amount of times they've been behind and feel, wary about how the season might unfold?
I think before the World Cup, if you'd have said to Spurs fans, you'll be sitting in fourth place, you'll be in the last 16 of the Champions League, I think everybody would have taken it. But we want progression, we want direction within the club, and I think there is uncertainty now whether Antonio Conte will stay beyond the summer. Certainly with what he's been saying in his press conferences, he's worrying a lot of Spurs fans right now. We want the board to back Antonio Conte. I'm a big fan of Conte. I know everybody isn't. Some of the fans are mixed about Conte and the style of football that he plays, but I'm a big fan of him. I think if you give him the players that he needs, certainly a right wing back, we'd certainly need one of those in the January window. I think with a couple of additions, it's absolutely paramount that we finish in the top four again this season. And I just think with a couple more additions, like the last January window that we had, Kulusevski and Bentancur walking straight into the team, we need another transfer window like that where we're improving the starting 11.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he has been indicating, hasn't he? He needs another window or two to get the team where he wants it. Chris, great to speak to you. Thanks very much. Lovely to hear your thoughts on Harry Kane and Tottenham. That's Chris Cowlin, the Spurs fan who was at Selhurst Park last night and watching Harry Kane get to within 2 of Jimmy Greaves' Tottenham goal-scoring record. Well, West Ham